First rule of light mechs, and I really could say first rule of Battletech. Battletech 101, don't get hit. With a light mech, you don't have the armor, you don't have the internals, and getting hit by a large laser, a PPC, or 3 or 4 medium lasers, it's going to core you out. It's going to blow off an arm. The damage transfer as it moves into your core, it's very easy to take one hit and then take 1 or 2 more hits and just start literally falling apart. So before we get into the role, we've been exploring assault, heavy, medium, and now light, building this checklist of roles and opportunities independent of specific mechs. Before we build this checklist, we have to really tactically approach every light mech. Even those light mechs on the heavier tonnage spectrum don't get hit. We can't get hit. In many ways, if you want to learn to get good with Battletech, like Dark Souls good, play light mechs. Play light mechs, master light mechs, because they are key to positioning. Now, by positioning, I mean staying out of firing arcs or trying to attack on a firing arc where you can shoot weak points of your opponent, but they can't necessarily, based on the configuration of their mech, return fire on the complete arc, playing with initiative and using speed and mobility to get rear armor, and basically to try and cause as much trouble as you can with that light mech. It's going to teach you really, really fast. Now, on the positive side of light mechs, it is a challenge. It is tactica, but you at least have the movement points and the jumping ability in a lot of the mechs to be able to get into position or get the heck out of there. And last week, it's up in my Battletech archive for those of you who are new to the game, this understanding of stacking modifiers, where your opponent has a base to hit based on the skill of their mech warrior, and then you kind of formulate, did they walk, did they run, did they jump? Then how many hexes did I move? Is there cover? Is there concealment? Is there facing? And with a light mech, we're trying to stack. We're trying to stack as many of those as possible. If we can't master that, we can't get into the roles. So the roles of light mechs, I see many light mechs as a skirmisher, a harasser, or the ability based on the configuration to really attack rear armor, to really attack assets in your player's backfield, in addition to recon, maybe grabbing stuff. Light mechs do not have the ability to effectively, most of the time, in my experience, work as a bodyguard mech. A bodyguard mech is where you have your, say, battle master, and walking alongside of it is a hunchback. So this way, anything that comes to engage and slow down the battle master from getting into position, the hunchback is acting as a bodyguard, a literal bodyguard. Or when the battle master engages an opposing mech and now they're locked and they're shooting, that hunchback can also add some firepower or move around and get rear armor. Now, certainly you could say, well, Fritz, look at the Jenner. I mean, the Jenner packs more firepower than most medium mechs. I mean, Jenner is a beast, but Jenner does not have the heat discipline and the armor for sustained bodyguard rolls. If you utilize that as a bodyguard roll on your way in and I hit you with some 20 packs, LRM 20 packs, light you up, you're better off running, you're better off getting cover. So in that vein and in that usage, let's look at a skirmisher. And I'm going to name a couple of mechs here just as examples. These are machines that I play, but this checklist is independent of machine and mech. The Thorn. Thorn's got some good speed. It's got some okay armor. It's got lasers, medium lasers. It's got the LRM 5-pack. One could easily say the Valkyrie. I also use the Valkyrie for this tremendously. The idea with a skirmish light mech is it has the speed to get into position, fire off some long-range missiles, heck, maybe even indirect. You know, I need 12s to hit. Then I'll just shoot, skirmish. It's not so much the damage, because often these LRM packs on light mechs don't have the weight of 15 and 20s, although Valkyrie is something special with the 10. You know, the 10 on the light mech with some decent ammo, speed, and secondary weapon, that's got some bite. That's got a lot of use to it. But the idea with a skirmisher is just to fire things off and maybe cause your opponent to peel off or pull off 1 or 2 units and send it after that light mech. So if you're advancing forward with your tanks and your battle mechs, and I get into position with the Valkyrie, maybe behind level 3, and I just start indirect fire. Or I'm up on that hill, I fire some indirect fire, direct fire, I run. If you pull off some hover units to chase me down, that means I've siphoned off some battle value from that main attacking force. So my main attacking force battle value going against your main attacking force, I've reduced the battle value a little bit. Now, of course, this is where the tactics come in. Do I engage you with my Valkyrie, the hover that you pulled off? I just picked hover units because they're good engagement units, back and forth. So that's the first aspect, just as a skirmisher. You kind of want to skirmish. Second would be a backfield hunter. The idea of combined arms, and we've looked at this too in the long-range missile and short-range missile configurations of missile carriers, but mainly the long-range missiles. You take 2, they put out a lot of missiles, 3 20-pack of missiles. They don't have any armor. They have high battle value for a vehicle. But, you're packing a tremendous amount of missiles and firepower. So you take, 2 of these, or 3, depending on the battle value, or maybe even 1 if it's a lower point game. You put it in the backfield, and you hide it somewhere. And because it's a vehicle and the elevation, the profile, you hide it and you indirect fire or you direct fire. And the idea is that you have a wall of mechs or combined arms, tanks, infantry, vehicles moving forward. Your opponent really can't effectively engage it, especially if it's indirect fire, hidden. You send out, so one of the ways you deal with that is look, I can't let you fire 2 or 3. 3 might be a little overkill. Can you ever have overkill in Battletech? Might be, 2 LRM carriers, 20, 40, 60, 20, 40, 60, 120 real-time missiles coming at me. I can't let you have that. I can't sit there and take that punishment, even with indirects. You're going to roll. It has redundancy. You're going to roll and you're going to hit. So I take my light mech, my Valkyrie, my Jenner, and I move that and I engage with that. So this idea of a backfield hunter. Those are the 2 primary roles that I see light mechs: skirmishing, backfield deployment hunters. Now, in lower battle value games, we're going to circle back around. In lower battle value games, if it's really some light mechs are fulfilling the heaviest role, medium mechs are fulfilling the heaviest role, and we have some light mechs, then you could, upon the configuration, use that light mech as a bodyguard type mech. It really depends on the extremely lower end spectrum of battle value. As soon as we get into 3K, 4K, especially 6K or higher battle value, that's where the roles really become defined, especially with the light mechs.